Hi, everyone. I have some things to talk about. I love this incense. Oh my God. It's like myrrh. Is that the best way? Just has a very beautiful, sweet smell. Very sweet smell. Thought I would light it because, last time on our live we had some weirdos. And I'm not in the mood for weirdos. Especially tonight, after I got all my statistics, you know, about what's going on with people in our society, which the whole reason I did this channel is to kind of bring awareness to the plight of things and find something positive out of it. You know what I mean? Grab you something to drink. Have a glass of wine. I'm drinking hot chocolate. It's cold here, very cold. It's been cold all day. And I kind of just want to, what did I do here? Kind of wanted to give some people some time to come in because it's like the statistic that I got today just really surprised me. I wasn't really expecting it to be that profound. And it's concerning. It's very concerning. I think it's concerning as the development of humanity to where we're going in the future. And this is like really what I found out today is that we have a high number of young people um, between, I would say their teens and 25 that, and teens, I'm good with that. But when you're in your 20s to 25 and you have never had a intimate relationship, you have never had a girlfriend, you are afraid to approach a female, you are just awkwardly not present, that's where it's a problem. And the reason it becomes a problem is because these young men have fathers and mothers. And I just had a conversation today with a friend of mine that has a nephew that is having a hard time at his very young age. But then when you look at his father is having a hard time at an older age. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for the likes. Thank you. And I'm sorry. I'm coming with y'all some serious stuff tonight because it just blew me away. And I remember just talking with her and saying, yes, this kid is not where he needs to be. But when you look at this thing, it has a lot to do with the fathers. It has a lot to do with who is the responsible male in their life. And so if you got a kid that's between the ages of, let me say, 19 and 25, and they have never, ever had any type of intense relationship or any connection with the opposite sex, that is a horrific problem, because these men, these boys will be men soon. You know, what is the average age when a man and woman fully comes into age? It's not what society tells you, 18 or 19. Science says that it takes, when a young person is about 27, that's when you start seeing the benchmarks of a full adult. But we're not getting that. And so, reflectively, that is showing, and the numbers totally, totally blew me away, because I love gathering information on what is currently going on with our world and our society. Because, like I said, when I created this channel, um, you know, it was with the thought of connecting men and women together, but it's very difficult to connect us when there's just so much disease in our connective reality. Is, like, if you got men that are afraid of women, that are not approaching women, not having sex, not expressing their primal attributes, guess what? That becomes a problem over time, because those are the type of men that will be, unquote, maybe statistically could be more violent. And then now you want to think of, like, okay, who's the fathers of these young men? And we already know, within the crises of the older men, 65% of women are filing for divorce in the ages of, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 50 and 65. They're just totally leaving. They're totally leaving their relationships. And it's, really interesting how this is coming to play. And I want to say hi to everyone. I'm trying to stay on my point right now, so I will look at your messages in a few minutes. I just want to really get this out, because I feel it's important to build this blueprint of what I'm talking about. So, what's so interesting is that you have this large number of females that are exiting out of relationships. You have a large amount of men that are exiting, supposed to be exiting, and two relationships, love relationships, connection, sexual relationships, and they're not doing so. So you got one sector that's phasing out and another sector that's phasing in. And in the middle of all that, men are involved, and men are not getting what they need. And I don't know if you're a woman here and you've been dealing with, like, I got a, you guys, literally, I dated a man about 10 years ago. In between all my permanent guy of 18 years, I would break up with him, start dating. Well, long story. But a guy that I dated about 10 years ago reached out to me on my business social media and gave me his number. And the guy, he was European, so he moved back to Europe. But what was so interesting about this conversation, uh, the stress, he had a heart attack and a stroke, and he wanted to let me know, but I hadn't heard from him in 10 years, so it was just kind of ironic. And this is what I'm talking about, females. This is what I'm talking about. Because if your heart is in the right place and you're doing your work and you're integrating and you're loving life and you're loving your world and you're loving human beings and you're giving back, because it is statistically known that women, when they're not in a relationship, they begin to give back to their friends, they give to the people around them, they have those conversations. Men, when they're alone, they don't have those conversations. Who they're going to talk to? All they have with a conversation with is sports. They don't really have those deep discussions that many of us have as females. So if you really think about it, here we are going through this evolution, and women been forced into evolution because of, how can I say it? Women we're feeling very unsafe in our society. I remember doing a conference, and I wanted a show of hands of women that had been probably raped one time in their life, and I was astounded at the numbers and how many hands went up that somewhere in their reality they had a bad experience when they said no to a man. And so when I was looking at this, and this is I'm talking about theologians, people that study statistics, and they're male, that these are not women studying the statistics of what is going on with the male archetype right now. These are men studying men. I'm not telling you this from my perspective of as a female, even though I can see the perspective because I deal with it in my daily life, and when I deal with men that won't go away. And so I just want you guys to know that in all sincerity, there is really something here that is a mix. And then women are leaving these, a lot of relationships from the men because the men have them in slavitude, have them as live-in slaves to do all their duties and have sex and whatever, and they're not filling her cup. And so now you got this mass exiting, and these are numbers, you guys. These are statistically numbers. Like 65% of older women are leaving relationships and with men that they've been with for 20 and 30 and 40 years, and they're happier. That should not be. That means like something is meant. And then you got the young ones that are afraid of women. And then, and I'm not saying that women don't have a part in this, because women are wilding out, because you see that. Thank you very much. Okay, you said something about my hair. Thank you very much for saying something about my hair. Here's my commercial time. I have an online business. It is hair extensions. My website is www.heygorgousyou.com. If you look in the top of my profile, I have a Cash App. That Cash App is to help me going, because I'm going full time on uh, going live and on my social media. I am very nervous because I have always been a freaking workaholic, and I'm phasing out of that, and I'm going into my social media content. And if you look in the bio and you want to support me um, as a creator, in my Bible, I have a link in there, and that link tree is to my Amazon store, and I am an Amazon influencer, and also a few other places I'm influencing for also, and that's in the link in my link tree. So let us go back onto task, and thank you very much for the compliment. I really appreciate you guys complimenting me, because sometimes, a little girl needs a little juice, because, sometimes we look in the mirror and we see our lines, and we're starting to age, and, we're changing rapidly, So as I was, saying, it's just really, really hard to really see how the breakdown and the deterioration of our connection. because this is bottom line is not about just male and female. It's about, are we connecting? Are we going to be connecting as we do this shift, as this shift begins to break through the thin veil of which we're living in? We're seeing things for what they really are. We're starting to be able to understand, no one can come and run a game on you because the veil is thin. It's like we can see. You remember the other day we were talking about the glasses. Once you put those glasses on, you can't unsee that. You can't unsee what you saw. So yeah, it's kind of like an interesting thing to really even think about. It's just like the disconnect with the younger men, and then the disconnect with the older women. And so when you bring that all together, the vocal point is what's happening with our men. What's happening with our men? Why are women choosing to be alone? Why are young men stuck and afraid to um, connect with women? And another thing, what he said on this broadcast I was watching, he was literally saying that the young men are actually watching these video games that have avatars that are so much like a human that that's where they're putting all their energy in, is because that's the only way they can relate. They can't relate to a live human being because it's hard for them. They feel awkward. They don't feel. And then another statistic that they were saying that I guess in the 50s and the 60s, homeowners were there were men at about the age of 30. That's not happening here now. But men in their 30s are still kind of, some of them are still living with their mothers. Some of them are still trying to figure life out at 30 years old. And then you got this disconnect of women not connecting with themselves. And this is not about the man and the woman per se. It's about us connecting with our own bodies and knowing who we truly are with our own bodies. And it's so connected to everybody. How we connect with our bodies is connected to everybody. So what we're seeing in the young men, we are seeing the same thing. We are seeing the same thing from our men. We are seeing the same thing from our women. So it's kind of crazy because put two and two together, that is affecting our society. I'm actually looking for my reading glasses. I don't know why I didn't grab them. It's like, seriously? So I'm going to try to see. Okay. Trying to see. Some of the messages disappeared, so I can't see. Lord, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to literally, it won't let me, and I don't got my reading glasses. So you guys, I cannot see. Okay. V said hi. And then I'm going to say 4870 said hi. Thank you for the compliment. Um, who's that? Okay. M, hello. Hi. How are you? Thank you for coming in. I love when I get people from other places. Let me know where you guys are coming from. I totally appreciate. Hey. Hey. Hello. Thank you. Hey. How are you guys? Yeah. Hey. So I thought that, I really thought the statistic was really like interesting. And so like, it's really interesting. And so the stuff that, I've been talking to you guys that I've been dealing with for the last year with men, and how they won't go away. They're like they won't go away, and they're like lost, and they're not confident, and I don't like that. I don't like men that are not confident in themselves. And so it's so interesting because that makes sense with the statistics that I gave you here just recently. It totally makes sense because they're struggling. And I don't know if I told you guys about a year ago, I had a vision, and I really believe this shift is to recalibrate what's going on with the masculine energy. And that's why they're having such a hard time because, and statistically, 70, I think is like upward of 70% of women are going into the therapy room getting counseling. If you get what I'm saying, they're going to get counseling, and men are not very up to going to counseling, where they don't really understand the benefits of counseling and how it will change your life, and give you more perspective on what's going on in life, if you get what I'm saying. And so women are more out to be open to that, and men are not. And so it kind of puzzles me that with this statistic with the younger men and the statistics of the older women, younger men, high number of 45 to 50% of younger men have not been sexually active, have not had dates. 65% of older women are leaving relationships. And then, though, but what all this said, the gap is that it's affecting the masculine energy. And so like, how's that going to spin out as we go through this shift? Because I really believe, and I said this many years ago, I really believe this shift is for directly for the masculine energy. It is almost like to bring them to a place that they have to surrender to the ego so they can begin to do the work. Because as long as there's this disruption in their mind, thinking that they don't need to change, and they don't need to heal, we're going to have the same problem over and over and over again. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. I really do. So as we are like looking at this, the even if you pull in the gaps, the women at in their 50s and 60s are literally divorcing at a very astronomical rate. And so when you're thinking about women in their 50s and 60s, they've probably been married 20, 30, 35, 40 years. And I did tell you guys this a few months ago, like I think it was about a year ago, I had a client that came in. Guy was he was a lawyer, and like, you see his dress, you could tell he was a lawyer, but he had long hair to his shoulders, and he wanted to change his look. And I said, so what made you grow out your hair? And he told me this from his lips. He goes, I was sitting at the dinner table having dinner with my wife, and she looked at me, and she threw divorce papers on the table, and she goes, I need a change of environment. So I started really studying that. I wanted to understand why women, like, I think women are always thinking like women and men, well, I'm gonna meet someone, I'm gonna spend my whole life with them, and we're gonna raise children, and then we'll be old together. That's not happening. That's not happening these days, because women are walking away before that even happens. And why are they walking away? And I remember when he was talking to me, I started thinking about it, and I started studying it, and I started, really probing why women are walking away. Why? Because women, what they do is they're putting all their energy in their children, in their home, in their doing all this for their husband, their doggone personal assistants for their husbands, while their husband build their career, and then their children leave the home and they lack purpose. They don't have purpose. They didn't have time to make purpose. They didn't have time to have purpose because the husband made sure that their schedule was full of what he needed them to do. And so now the women are going like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I don't even know my husband. I know my kids better than I know my husband, because he would constantly, tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll be there for you tomorrow. And he did that for 20 years. To finally, she just got quiet. And when women get quiet and start going into their what they're doing, they're quieting so they can phase out. Women don't just go quiet. Women go quiet when they've had enough. That's why when this guy sat in my chair, he basically said, well, I don't know why she left, but I could tell you why she left, right? And I go, how long have you been married? And he said that they were married for, um, I'm old enough to be your, yes, I am. I have adult children. Yes, I do. So it is so interesting that when he told me, he goes, we've been together 45 years. She was with this man for 45 years and walked away. And I know women, because I'm a woman. Women don't just walk away. It took time for them to walk away. They had to reminisce. They had to stew in it. They had to make a soup and let it simmer, because she went quiet. She went quiet. And when she goes quiet, she's building the broth to leave that relationship. She's simmering. She's done. She's just waiting for the right time. She's waiting for the right circumstances. And maybe those circumstances are her children. Maybe those circumstances are she don't got enough money. Maybe those circumstances are, a varies of things. So it's just so interesting. Thank you. Thank you. I had a good birthday, though. I had a good Well, I went on a tangent. I went on like a 2, 3 week tangent that I did have fun. I did play a lot. I definitely played a lot. And it's so good to see you, sweetie. So good to see you. So yeah. So it's kind of interesting. And the men that are in these lasting relationships is because they're in that mode of respecting both. Because I think, like, literally, in a relationship, it's not just one person, and it's not tasked to one person. I have a dear friend that husband has never in their whole entire marriage been the provider. She's been the provider. And then after and then she breaks up with him, and she's broken up with him maybe a year and a half, and goes back to him, like the result is going to change. I mean, they had separate everything. That's a big sign. That's a red flag. But a lot of females will sacrifice their happiness because they fear loneliness. Hear that again. A lot of women will sacrifice their happiness because they fear loneliness. And that's where, we talk about women and their self-love, being self-confident, understanding the power that lies with them in them. Women don't leave because of social media, but I think social media gets them to think. Because what I do love about social media, you're starting to see men themselves. And these are strong men that have did the work and brought value to who they are, because it's not about financial. It's about what is going on in the structure of your mind, heart, mind, and soul. And when you have that heart, mind, and soul collectively gelling together, you're not gonna you're gonna do well. You're going to do well. But it's when and that's what gets me, because, like, you guys, y'all know my story. I was married for 14 years. I had 3 kids. My ex-husband left me with 3 kids, and I was a stay-home mom. And I did not have like a dime to my name. I didn't have anything to my name because we were a joint couple. And so all our assets and all our money was in his name. You know, like when I'm talking to my daughters about that, they can't even imagine that, because they were so young when I got divorced. I started telling them to protect themselves early, because my mom was from the school that you stay with that man, he takes care, he's the provider, he's this, he's that. And she used to tell me all the time. She goes, "Honey, get a little part-time job. Make sure you have money in your account, because you never know what men are gonna do. You never know what a guy will do to you." And I'm like, "Mom, he would never do that to me." And he did. He did. He did. So, you learn from your lessons, and you learn from what people show you. And when somebody keeps showing you, and this is where women have changed, and they had to change for their survival. Like, where I'm at right now, no man could ever come into my life with nothing. Nothing emotionally, nothing to offer. No, no, it would never happen, because I've been there. I've been there. I build a man in our marriage. And those very men that walk out, they're terrible fathers because they were terrible husbands. So you have this dichotomy. You have, you know, the 20, 25 year olds that are terrified of relationships, that rather have an avatar on social media rather than be in a relationship. Then you have the female that is walking away from relationships at a very late age because they're tired of being under servitude. It's just a form of slavery, because you're not getting paid. You're not getting paid to have a baby. You're not getting paid to stretch your body out. You're not getting paid to wake up in the middle of the night for your child. You're not getting paid when you cook a meal for your husband every day. You're not getting paid when you take your kids to soccer. You're not getting paid when you go to every game that they have. You're not getting paid when you have to stay home when they're sick. You're not getting paid. And then guys are shocked that she left. And women don't leave because of social media. They leave because they're tired. They're tired not being seen. They're tired not being heard. And they're tired of doing everything and you sit on the couch and drink a beer. You can't wait for, the maintenance man to come into the house and do maintenance on a part of the home, because you got to be here and you got to be there. And if you really think about it, that's a good gig for a guy. All he has to do is go to work. And one thing that I noticed when I got divorced and I went into the work force, it was literally more relaxing to be at work, because at least when you clock out, you're done. But being a parent, you never get to clock out. But how many men clock out from their children? How many men clock out from their wives? When they clock out from work, they come home clocked out. They don't engage, they don't get involved, they don't give to their children or their wife. They still want to be giving. When they get home, they want to be given to. They don't feel like they have to give to. And their whole archetype is service. The service of keeping her safe so she can be in the right mind to have his children. But by the time she gets out of that relationship, she's exhausted. She's tired. She's not in her right mind. That's why she got divorced. The divorce is the fact. All the divorce is a symptom of I'm not in my right mind. And the reason she's not in her right mind, exactly. Exactly. The reason she's not in her right mind, we need to do more an investigation on that, because the statistics don't lie. The statistics don't lie. And even as I coach, some of the things that people tell me that is going on in the shenanigans, and the crazy thing, people are going back to those relationships. Some people are on the hunt to not being alone. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? That's something wrong with that. Why would you be on the hunt to not be alone? What is being with yourself? Why is it so bad? What's wrong with that picture? Why is it so bad to be alone with yourself? You should love being by yourself. Like being in a relationship should be a thing of, you can take it or you can leave it, because either way you go, you are happy where you're at. Thank you so much. You are happy where you at. Like, that old saying, just chasing the dream. There are people that are chasing the dream to be in a relationship. I was I was literally dating this guy that had been married 4 times. I found out that he had been married 4 times. And when I found out, he literally asked me to marry him and gave me an ultimatum, and basically said that I can't be in a relationship if you don't want to get married. But you've been married 4 times. Why you want me to be no? And I will never be fifth wheel for no one. Why do you want me to be fifth wheel? Like, I don't understand that. I could not understand that. Like, how can you understand that? So that's somebody that's chasing the dream with no thought of where they're at, what they're feeling, not tapped into that, and they're so affixed on making sure that they're chasing the dream when they're not connected with themselves. And when you're not connected with yourself, you're always going to feel empty. It doesn't matter who you get with, it doesn't matter who you're with, it doesn't matter. Because the problem is not who you with, it's being with yourself. And when you learn to be with yourself, nobody can run game. And the thing about it is, because, I'm just saying, because I've been there. When you're like that, you get these men that have, or these women that have, they're all full of games and shenanigans because they know you're needy. You're needing you are needy. Needing to be in a connection. And the thing is, you're not connected with yourself. You're starving for connection because you're not connected with yourself. And when you're connected with yourself, yeah, but I'm a Scorpio. I'm a Scorpio and I had a lot of issues. Yes, I did. I did. But let me tell you, it doesn't matter. Looks don't have nothing to do with it. It has all to do with a person's energy. It really does. Let's see, if we don't learn the art of being by ourselves, we're never going to be able to identify anybody in our lives that are not right for us. Like literally we make poor decisions. And so what you're seeing, the dichotomy between these two sectors, the younger and then the younger men, the older women, and in the middle, the heart of it is how men are relating in their world, and how men are relating in the world really affects every aspect of our hemisphere. It taps into how women, um their belief systems. The first thing that I said to my girlfriend when we were having this conversation, because she was asking me about her, nephew, and I said, sorry, you gotta look at your brother, because he's only a mirror of what he sees every day. And if there's raging within their family dynamic, he's gonna rage, he's gonna feel that way, he's gonna have that inside of him. The anger comes from fear. The anger, when you find a man like screaming at a car, screaming every time, you turn around, he's screaming, he see a squirrel going across the street and he mad about it. He's in fear. He's suppressing his fear and taking it out on the world. You on house arrest? Dang, dang, dang. Did I see that right? Oh, wow. You guys, I wish I could go get my glasses. I need my reading glasses because I cannot see. I don't have my contacts in, so I can't see, y'all. Can't see. I need my reading glasses. I got some. I normally have some sitting on my bed somewhere, but I don't. I don't. So yeah, girl, those were the statistics that I saw today. That's the statistics, and it blew me away because we're going into a new world, and we don't have the tools to carry on in humanity. Because in order to carry on in humanity, people need to be in love, people need to be having sex and procreating. And there is no sex going on. And there's no procreating. It's a little bit. It's a little bit of procreation, but not that much. Because the people that do the procreating, they are all messed up right now because they're afraid of women. So, you know, and then women are closing their wombs. Is so crazy how, like, like, literally, when you guys, when I was talking about this like several years ago, I got so much backlash. I got so much back, like, what are you talking about? You don't know what you talking about. Da, 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 da. And I was saying it. I was saying that we're going into a crisis. We're going into a naked epidemic of loneliness. That's what we're going into. 2026 is going to blow your mind because it's an epidemic of loneliness. And so I know people couldn't handle what I was saying, but it's the truth. It's the truth. Like, you cannot see these statistics of younger men at 45% not having sex, not loving, not haven't even had a date with a woman. That's a large number to not ever even had a kiss from a woman. What, like, that's crazy. So they sitting online with avatars? Can you see the problem? Then you got women that are 50 and 60 walking away from marriages. You know what I'm saying? You're right. You're absolutely right. There's no shame in my game. And why would I even care? Because, you know, this channel is all about honesty. Yeah, pornography is bad. But you know what? This was so sad about pornography because, like, I talked about this. I talked about this. I talked about this. Only's fan. I think they said what it is, the number 53% of men that are on OnlyFans are married. The ages of women that are actually showing their bodies on OnlyFans are between the ages of 18 and 25. Now, think about that and really resonate with that. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's like aging like a fine wine. That's what you're trying to do. Age like a fine wine. But there's nothing wrong with aging. Not at all. You just got to wear it well. So if you get what I'm saying, so here you got the statistics don't lie. And so we're in statistically a crisis. And literally, I know y'all didn't like what I was saying back in the day. I know y'all felt offended when I was saying what I was saying back in the day, but I was only saying it out of love and out of observation of what I was seeing. And when I was dealing with my own personal life and the circle, and this is so crazy because in the statistics about the younger men, that literally that in this statistic, women were far more articulated, far more mature, far more advanced than men. And men, we already know that statistically men take a little longer. But think about it, with a man taking a little longer as we speak, a man taking a little longer to come onto himself to be that man, and he's choosing not to be that man. That's fear, you guys. That's fear. The anger, you know. And one thing that this guy was saying, that what he was concerned about, it was what's going to happen with men that are sitting in their room watching social media, no, watching video games with the avatar of a woman being sensual. What is going to do with their minds, and what is going to do with their continence? Because think about it. Think about it. They're sitting up there seeing something that they will never obtain. Because don't y'all realize video games are not real? They're not real. And I remember, because when I blog to you guys and when I talk to you guys, I'm a observer of life. I am an observer. I am a truth teller. I gather information through experiences, my coaching and reading, okay? And I remember one day I was just taking, and that's my observant mind. I was like taking a walk on the fairway, and on the fairway you got all these apartments. You got all these apartments, and these are, apartments and, condos and things like that. And I'm walking, every once in a while I would look over, and you would see somebody with their windows open, and the window would be open. No, this is an incense. I love this. It's what is the name of the incense? Uh, it's hibiscus, and it's a healing. Oh my God, it smells so good. Oh my God, I love this incense. It smells so good. So I'm doing my little walk, right? And I'm walking, and periodically I would look into somebody's window, because I'm walking and I see their window, so I look. And you know what? Not that I'm a peeping Tom or anything. Just saying, I was just observing. But you know what I noticed is that there would be a guy with his control in his hand, totally ignoring his girl. She's trying to be a part of his life by sitting there being silent, acting like she likes the game. Like, what is going on with that? So she's sitting there, and a lot of girls really don't like football, but they became football enthusiasts so they could connect with their husband. And this is what's going on with women. Women are they're trying to contorting to fit, to get love for their man. They're in a marriage with little boys that are not ready to grow up and to engage, but because they are afraid of being alone, they will settle, and they will continue in their behaviors when it comes to the male archetype. Then they're that, how can I say it, 50, 60-year-old woman. And I'm just going by what the statistics said. Like I said, I went to a conference, and then I also saw a podcast that was talking about the same thing. So it will amaze you at the audacity for people to even think that this is not happening when you got the world talking about it, because this is going to affect humanity. If men are not interested in a real woman, but they're interested in an avatar, how you think babies are going to be created? right? How you think we're gonna have babies? How you think we gonna connect? How you think we're gonna feel? Like, how do you feel your soul? You can feel your soul through your connection. How deep you connect. That's how you get knowledge of the soul. It's by how you connect. I can't believe I did that. See, I'm trying to burn down my freaking house. Like, it's all determinant on how do we connect. And if we're not connecting, there is not going to be no sex, you know. Maybe, well, I'm not trying to be X-rated on here, but maybe you'll get superficial sex. Because, some of those guys are buying the silicone dolls. See, that's how weird it's getting. That's literally how weird it's getting, you know? Yeah, it's really crazy. And like I've been telling you guys, I don't know what's going on in the collective, but people are extremely lonely and they're reaching out. And this is just not men, this is women. Women are accepting a lot of shenanigans from men. Men are reaching out to women that women, like I tell y'all know about my stalker. Y'all know about my stalker. It's been a year and a half of stalking. A year and a half of stalking. It's like crazy, crazy, crazy. It's crazy. But this is the world we are living in. You gonna look at your shorts to check out my body, or to check out the body, your body? What are you talking about? Thank you. Well, I'm doing a series right now. I'm doing a series on TikTok, and is my first series was about your feelings. And the reason I did that series is because I want people to start tapping into their feelings in order. The only way you can bring solutions to your problems is feeling how you really truly feel. Because if you don't know how you feel, then you can't identify what is causing you conflict within your own personal life. And then now I'm in series, I'm in my next series, which is forgiveness, and is how to go to that place of forgiveness, which is very different for all of us. But the reason I am doing forgiveness, healing, how you feeling, um, is to help people understand and identify what healing really means and how it can really change your life and how it can change your perspective and how it could make things really revolutionize your life, because now you really see the why you were feeling the way you were, the why you made certain decisions, because a lot of our decisions are based in emotions of fear and our headspace. And a lot of times, our headspace always likes to you know, deceive us about who we are. And you must feel who you are, what you are, how unbelievable, amazing you are. And if you don't see that and people don't tell you that, how amazing the ability for you to love and to care and to give back to yourself and give back to others is just simply fabulous. And a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't, and it's not that they really they don't know how to get there because they have so many deep wounds inside of them. And that's why I try to make sure that I am really giving you substance that you can learn from, substance that you can change from, substance that you can get some insight. Because a lot of times we're living in a space alone in our heads and not really taking the time to really tap into our source energy, to tap into who we are and where we're going and how we feel. And it's so important for us to know how we're feeling. It's so important to know um, what is really bothering us inside. Because a lot of us are like, you know what? And you know what's so interesting? Because because I've been in that place. I've been in that place. Like life was happening to me, not for me, right? Because I couldn't identify why it was just like I just, and it's so weird because it has nothing to do with that you're mean or you're angry or anything. It's like you become like you're in life, but you're not living life. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like life is happening to you, not for you. That's the best way to say it. And so until you start healing those areas, you can't identify. Like how can you identify? Because you don't have a blueprint. And the blueprint is how are you feeling about yourself? Are you tapped into your feelings? When you feel uncomfortable, are you feeling that uncomfortability because of, you know, you're not healed? Or you're not tapped into your healing, or you got something like trauma that's stuck in your body that you're afraid to speak to, that you're afraid to acknowledge, that you're afraid to see. And so I think, like, what's going on with everything in our side society and the things that's going on in the world today is the veil is thinning so we can see, so we can truly see what is really bothering me. What has really been bothering me all this time? Why can't I tap into it? What am I doing that I could be more effective? What can I do to be more effective? What can I do to be more tapped in? What can I do to really become me again? Become truly authentically me. And it's really hard to become authentically you if you're perpetrating under the madness of unhealed pain. Like I say, like the 20-year-olds to 25, they're not connecting because they're in pain. And that's direct from how they were raised. And especially a lot of the kids that were on lockdown during COVID, those kids are not the same anymore. And they're trying to make it like, oh, it's this, it's this. No, you shut these kids down at formidable, like very formative times in their lives. And you shut them down from the world, and they lost friendships. Some of those friends they never saw again. They couldn't interact, and now we have a society of kids. And if you think about it, think about it. Think about a 25-year-old. When we got shut down, they were 20 years old. Think about a 20-year-old. When we got shut down, they were like 15. So think of that sector. That's the sector that's suffering. Okay? Think about women. They were stuck in the house with a man that had them under servitude, and they was stuck with him 24/7. They could not get away from it. And that made them start thinking, that made them start saying, hey, do I really want the rest of my life to be like this? I want to live, right? Women are tired. You know, someone asked me in the comments, like, why women, is it social media? No, it's not social media. It's just pure D exhausting. No one person should be doing all that and have good health and mental health. That is no way that can happen. And if you're a man out there and you got a wife, you need to embrace her. You need to help her. You need to come in when you come for work and ask her what she needs, especially if she has a small baby. Don't just go and pop a beer and sit on the couch and turn on the TV. Assist her in the kitchen. Help her with her children, with your children. They are yours. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. They are yours. So it's so important. You if the male wants a better outcome, they must be more involved. They must be more involved. Because the only way, I heard this once, is that I just heard this from Till Swan, and you need to look her up. She's really amazing. Till Swan said that a woman is the inner substance of the shell. So when you see a sea urchin, like a shell, oyster shell, when you look at that, it's the hard surface is the male. That symbolizes the male. The inner surface that's real soft and real, like, very gentle to tear, that's the female. A man must be a container to protect, but they're not being containers. They're actually being the very thing that's damaging the inside of the feminine energy, where she's at her strongest when a man is a container. He's not a dictator, he's a container. He's keeping her safe, he's keeping her warm, he's assisting her in the raising of their children. What? I think it doesn't matter what your age is. I honestly, after my divorce, I started teaching my daughters right away. I started using what my experience was. I did not want my daughters to not have knowledge. And so you have to understand, back in the day, women didn't talk. Women didn't talk about this. They lived in silence, and half of them were miserable. And now today, you can Google how to be a better person. You can watch a podcast to be a better person. You can go to therapy to be a better person. People didn't have that back in the day. There was a taboo. Now it's a taboo if you don't go to therapy, if you got a problem. So, guys, if you're not going to therapy and you need to go, there's a taboo around that. Because when you go on a date, a woman that's wise is going to ask you how you're working on yourself. What have you done to embetter your life? What have you done to be more effective in your life? That's what women want to know. They don't want to know what your wallet is, because if you're effective in your life and you feel better about your life, you're going to soar. It's going to be a no-brainer. If you're taking care of your body, mind, and soul, you're going to soar. And what's going to happen is the woman is going to see that in you and desire you, because that's what we all want, right? We want to be desired. We want to be seen. We want to be acknowledged. We want to have passion. We want to have connection. Matter whoever you want to be with, maybe you want to be with a man or a female, whatever. You want those markers. You want to feel passion. You want to be seen. And you want to have this deep, deep love connection. But, you got to put work in. You got to put work in. So I want to thank you guys for coming in, showing up, showing out. I appreciate you guys. I probably will wait. Who you thought asked for a divorce? Do you know what? Um Statistically, more women ask for divorce. It's not a lot of men that ask for a divorce. And in my case, I asked for the divorce because I was tired. Now, when I asked for the divorce, that's when I got the full result. Because, guys don't really see women until she files for divorce. And then they're angry that she filed for divorce. So, yeah, it just depends. Everybody is different, but I do know statistically, if we go by the numbers, 65% of women are filing. And they're just filing not because they don't love that person. They filing because they're tired. They're tired of being the only person that's in the marriage, supporting the marriage, right? And that's only not that's not every situation, but statistically with the numbers, it's predominantly the problem. So you guys, I have my merch in. Mm, 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 mm. I have the merch in my bio. My Cash App is in the bio. And thank you for showing up, showing out. I will see you soon. And much love to you. Mwah. Take care.